Seriously, you won't believe the headlines flashing across Wall Street now. We're talking about a massive earth-shattering bombshell that has everyone from day traders to billionaire rivals staring at their screens in absolute disbelief. Is it possible that the world's richest man, the man we've called the real-life Iron Man for a decade, is heading straight for a total financial meltdown? It sounds impossible, right? But the numbers don't lie, and the vibes in Silicon Valley are shifting faster than a Model S in ludicrous mode. We are witnessing what might be the most chaotic chapter in the history of modern wealth. Let's look at the facts because they are absolutely brutal. Following latest product announcements, Tesla's stock didn't just dip. It took a gut-wrenching dive that wiped out billions in a single trading session. We all saw the hype building up for weeks. The teasers were everywhere, the fanboys were screaming, and the expectations were astronomical. But when the curtain finally pulled back on Elon's latest vision, the reaction was, well, let's just say chilly would be an understatement. It was more like a bucket of ice water to the face of every major investor. The grand robotaxi reveal was supposed to be the moment that changed the world. Elon promised us a future where steering wheels are obsolete and your car earns you rent money while you're tucked in bed. But the reality left the heavy hitters on Wall Street feeling completely ghosted. Where were the concrete production timelines? Where was the data on regulatory approvals? Instead of a revolution, we got a fancy light show and some prototypes that looked cool but lacked a solid business plan. The market's response was a giant no thanks, as in the sell-off was swift and merciless. It has been one of the wildest weeks in the history of the company. Elon is juggling more plates than a circus performer, and some are starting to wobble. Between those controversial posts on X that make his PR team sweat and the emergency board meetings happening at all hours, the atmosphere is electric with tension. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Seriously, the chaos is reaching a boiling point, and we want to know your take on this madness. This brings us to the big question. Has Musk finally pushed his luck too far with his latest all-in gamble? We've seen him bet the house before, and he's always won, but this time the stakes are different. He's essentially pivoting the entire identity of Tesla from a car manufacturer into an AI and robotics powerhouse. It's a bold move, but it's happening right as the core business faces its toughest competition ever from rivals like BYD. Is he a genius playing 4D chess, or is he just distracted by his own fame? Setting the stage for the drama ahead, this isn't just about cars anymore. This is about the survival of an empire. If Tesla falters, the domino effect could be catastrophic for his entire portfolio. The pressure from the Tesla board of directors is reaching a breaking point. They are no longer just yes men. They are looking at the balance sheets with worried eyes. Musk has always thrived on chaos, but the sheer magnitude of the current backlash is unlike anything we've seen before. Every decision he makes now is under a microscope, and the world is waiting for a mistake. But here is the real kicker. The public drama is just the tip of the iceberg. Wait until you hear what is happening behind the closed doors of massive gigafactories. While the world watches the stock ticker, something much more intense is brewing inside those steel walls. We are talking about leaked memos, morale hitting rock bottom, and secret decisions that could change the face of the company forever. The empire is shaking, and the stability of the richest man on earth hangs in the balance now. You've probably noticed the vibe shift, right? It's almost impossible to ignore. We are collectively watching a transformation that is honestly quite hard to wrap our heads around. For a decade, the world viewed Elon Musk as this untouchable, legendary, and incredibly influential tech visionary. The guy who was going to colonize Mars and save our planet with sleek electric cars. But lately, it feels like we are looking at a different person. He has shifted from being the laser-focused engineer obsessed with production lines to a full-time, high-stakes social media provocateur. Every time he hits that post button on X, the shockwaves don't just stay on the internet. They ripple through the global economy and shake the foundations of his multi-billion-dollar empire. It is wild to think how one man's personality change can affect the retirement funds of millions. This leads us to a massive question that is keeping Wall Street analysts up at night. What exactly is going on inside the Tesla board of directors? For the longest time, this group was seen as loyal yes men who would follow Elon into any battle. But rumors are swirling that a serious rebellion might finally be brewing in the boardroom. Can you imagine the tension in those meetings? They are watching the stock price tumble and the brand take a hit while their CEO is busy engaging in endless cultural wars online. It is one thing to support a visionary genius when the numbers are up, but it is another thing entirely when that genius's personal brand starts to overshadow the product people are supposed to buy. Are they still loyal, or are they preparing for a coup? While some of the big whales, those massive institutional investors who hold the real power and are starting to quietly jump ship, there are still some heavy hitters holding the line. Take Cathie Wood, for example. She is famously doubling down, insisting that Tesla is actually an AI and robotics company, not just a car manufacturer, and that the long-term play is still a winner. But man, the split between the die-hard believers and the growing crowd of skeptics has never been this wide. The whales are looking at the cold, hard numbers, and they don't like the volatility. They want stability, not a roller coaster ride driven by late-night tweets. And we absolutely have to talk about the reality of his wealth. It is a number that makes your head spin, but how much is actually liquid? Most of his fortune isn't sitting in a vault. It is tied up in incredibly volatile stock. When Tesla dips, his net worth vanishes by the billions in hours. It is a paper empire, and when you add the X factor, things get messier. Since the acquisition of Twitter, now X, the platform has been a constant drain on his focus and wallet. It is bleeding cash, and worse, it is impacting the Tesla brand. When people get frustrated with Elon, the social media owner, they stop wanting to buy a Tesla car. It is a dangerous game of brand contamination that he seems happy to play, even if it costs him a fortune. Meanwhile, the rivalry is heating up in a way we haven't seen before. While Tesla is dealing with PR nightmares and identity crises, competitors like BYD are absolutely thriving. They are laughing in the wings as they grab more and more of the global market share. It is a cutthroat race for supremacy, and right now the crown is looking a little wobbly. BYD isn't just a threat anymore. They are a direct challenge to the throne that Tesla has held for years. But the money loss is only half the story. The real juice is in the secret decisions unfolding right before us. The drama is just starting to unfold, and honestly, the implications for the future of the automotive and artificial intelligence industry are absolutely massive and potentially terrifying at the top. Speaking of those secret decisions, we absolutely have to dive into the massive mystery surrounding the Model 2. You remember the hype, right? This was supposed to be the $25,000 electric car that would finally bring Tesla to the masses. It was the holy grail for investors and fans alike who wanted an affordable way into the ecosystem. But lately, the whispers from inside the company have turned into a full-blown roar. Reports are surfacing that Elon might have secretly killed or indefinitely delayed the project to shift all focus toward the robotaxi. Imagine the shock in the room when that news started trickling out. For many, this feels like a total betrayal of the original master plan to make sustainable transport accessible for everyone. Was it a tactical error to abandon the affordable car just as competitors like BYD are flooding the market with cheaper options? Or is Elon seeing something the rest of us are completely missing? It is a high-stakes pivot that has left the market feeling more than a little ghosted. And if you think the product roadmap is chaotic, you should see what is happening to the people actually building these machines. We have seen the leaked memos, and the picture they paint is pretty grim. Internal sources are describing morale at an all-time low following those recent massive layoffs. We are talking about thousands of talented people being let go in a blink of an eye. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the crushing atmosphere of uncertainty that now permeates every office and production line. Imagine walking into a gigafactory not knowing if your badge will even work at the gate when you arrive for your shift. This hardcore culture has always been intense, but now it feels like a pressure cooker that is ready to blow when the very people who built the empire start feeling like they are just disposable parts in a machine. You have to wonder how much longer the innovation can actually last at this pace. Now let's talk about the absolute elephant in the room, the $56 billion pay package drama. Yes, you heard that right, $56 billion. This isn't just some corporate bonus. It's a legal battle that could literally strip Elon of his billionaire status, or at the very least, severely weaken his control over the company. The Delaware courtrooms have become a battleground where his entire financial future and personal leverage are being picked apart by lawyers. If he loses this battle, his net worth takes a historic hit, and his ability to leverage his wealth for new ventures becomes incredibly complicated. It is the ultimate high-stakes legal drama, and the world is watching to see if the world's richest man can actually lose it all because of a single legal signature. There is also this disturbing rumor about a purity test happening behind the scenes. Word is that Elon is essentially firing anyone who isn't fully on board with his radical AI-first vision. It's no longer just about building the best cars. It's about absolute loyalty to the idea that Tesla is an AI and robotics company first and foremost. If you disagree or even question the direction, you might find yourself out on the street. It's a total shift in the company's DNA, creating an environment where dissent is seen as a lack of vision. Is this how you lead a global powerhouse, or is it how you build an echo chamber that eventually ignores the warning signs of a crash? This pivot to AI and robotics is the ultimate all-in move for the future of his fortune. While car sales are stalling and inventory is piling up in parking lots, Elon is doubling down on Optimus and autonomous driving. Some call it a brilliant move to leapfrog the competition, while others see it as a desperate distraction to keep the stock price from falling off a cliff. If the robots don't deliver soon, what is left of the core business that investors fell in love with? It's a gamble of epic proportions, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Meanwhile, if you look closely at recent SEC filings, you'll see evidence of some quiet offloading. It appears Elon has been selling off chunks of his Tesla shares to fund his other massive ventures, like the cash-bleeding X or his ambitious new AI startup. This isn't just speculation. The documents show a man who is liquidating his primary source of wealth to keep his other dreams alive. When the captain starts selling pieces of the ship to buy fuel for other boats, it sends a very clear message to the rest of the crew. If you think these internal leaks and financial shifts are bad, wait until you see how the internet is reacting now. Oh boy, if you think the internal drama at the gigafactories is wild, you should see what's happening in the streets and on your feed. The fanboy fallout is officially here, and it is honestly painful to watch if you've been following the Tesla journey from the start. We're talking about diehard enthusiasts. People who used to treat their Model S like a religious relic, now posting viral videos of themselves trading in their keys for a Porsche or a Rivian. It's a total vibe shift that nobody saw coming. These aren't just random buyers. These are the core influencers who built the brand's cool factor. When the people who used to defend every single panel gap and software bug start saying, "I'm done," you know the brand equity is taking a massive hit. They're citing everything from the erratic tweets to the lack of that promised affordable Model 2, and the once impenetrable wall of Musk worship is finally showing some serious deep cracks. It's like the honeymoon is over, and the divorce is being live-streamed for the whole world to see. While the fans are walking away, Wall Street is sharpening its knives. For years, Tesla was treated like a high-flying tech stock with a valuation that defied gravity. But now, analysts are dropping the falling star label like it's a hot potato. They are looking at the shrinking profit margins and the cooling global demand and asking the one question Elon Musk hates most. Is Tesla just another car company? Ouch. That has to sting the ego of a man who sees himself as the chief architect of the future. When the big institutional players start stripping away that visionary tech premium, the stock price feels it instantly, and so does Elon's personal net worth. It's a brutal cycle where his public persona fuels the stock, and the stock fuels his persona. But right now, both are looking a little shaky. His ego is tied to that stock price, and as it dips, we're seeing him get more and more defensive. Remember the Doge Father days? The era when a single tweet from Elon could send a meme coin to the moon and turn Reddit into a frenzy of buying. Yeah, that era feels like ancient history. The Reddit crowd and the ex-power users who once followed him into every battle are starting to turn their backs. The sentiment on subreddits like Wall Street Bets has shifted from HODL to how do we get out before the floor drops. People are tired of the chaos. They want growth, they want stability, and they want the billionaire genius they signed up for, not the guy constantly embroiled in a new online feud every 48 hours. It turns out that being a disruptor is great until you start disrupting your own investors' bank accounts. The meme stock magic has faded, leaving behind a lot of frustrated people holding bags they can no longer afford. And it's not just the fans and the bankers. The other tech billionaires are starting to pipe up too, and they aren't being particularly subtle about it. You've probably seen the passive-aggressive comments from other industry titans, guys like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, making remarks about the importance of focus and stable leadership. It's basically billionaire code for get your act together, man. No, they are watching the empire wobble, and they aren't exactly rushing to help. Meanwhile, the Cybertruck, once promised as the ultimate futuristic machine, has become a viral meme for all the wrong reasons. Have you seen those cyber fail compilations? We're talking about brand new trucks getting stuck in 3 inches of snow, panel gaps you could fit a whole sandwich through, and those terrifying videos of the trunk acting like a finger-pinching guillotine. Every viral clip of a Cybertruck breaking down is like a tiny hole in the bucket of Tesla's reputation, and the water is leaking out fast. It's a PR nightmare that is hitting the bottom line hard. It's a tragic transformation when you think about it. We went from comparing him to Tony Stark, the Iron Man who was going to save humanity with green energy and rockets, to seeing him as a chaotic soap opera lead. The public sentiment has shifted from genuine awe to a sort of collective exhaustion. People are tuned in now, not because they're inspired, but because they want to see what crazy thing happens next. It's must-see TV, but for all the wrong reasons. The Tesla brand is becoming synonymous with controversy rather than innovation. And that is a dangerous place to be when you're trying to sell a premium product to a world that has more options than ever. But wait, before we count him out completely, we have to ask the big question, is this all just a massive, messy mistake? Or is there a master plan hidden beneath all this chaos? Elon has a legendary history of pulling a rabbit out of a hat just when things look the darkest. Is it possible he's intentionally burning down the car company image to force the world to see his true endgame? There are whispers that everything we're seeing, the layoffs, the stock drop, the PR disasters, is all part of a much bigger, much scarier gamble that involves more than just electric cars. But as the whisper of bankruptcy starts to echo in the dark corners of the financial world, we have to look at what happens if the worst case scenario actually becomes a reality. The word bankruptcy used to be a total joke when it came to Elon Musk, something he'd laugh off during a late night podcast while joking about Tesla Kila. But today, the laughter is sounding a bit thin. In the shadowy offices of the most serious financial firms on Wall Street, analysts are actually crunching the numbers with a grim look on their faces. But they're looking at the mountain of debt piled up at X, formerly Twitter, and the shrinking profit margins over at Tesla, and they're wondering if the math even works anymore. If the stock continues its downward spiral, those dreaded margin calls could start hitting like a ton of bricks. It's the ultimate nightmare scenario. The world's richest man finding himself asset rich but cash poor. Stuck in a liquidity trap that even his brilliant mind might not be able to escape. Could we actually see a reality where the empire collapses under its own weight? It sounds absolutely insane, but in this chaotic economy, insane is just the new normal. But wait, before we assume he's headed for the breadline, we have to talk about his ultimate safety net, SpaceX. While Tesla is dodging potholes on the ground, SpaceX is literally owning the sky. It is the world's most valuable private company, and for Elon, it's the ultimate break glass in case of emergency card. Some analysts believe that if Tesla truly crashes, Elon could leverage his massive stake in SpaceX to bail himself out or secure new lines of credit. It's like having a secret treasure chest hidden on a launch pad in South Texas. But here's the catch. Would the SpaceX board or even the government even let him? Moving money between a public car company and a private aerospace giant is a legal minefield that would make any lawyer's head spin. It's a high-stakes game of financial Tetris where one wrong move could bring the whole structure tumbling down. Then there's the robotaxi mystery. This is the hill Elon has chosen to die on, quite literally. He's pivoted Tesla's entire focus toward an autonomous future, betting that a fleet of self-driving cars will make the current car company model look like an old horse and buggy. But here's the scary part. If that launch isn't a flawless, mind-blowing success, it could be the final nail in the coffin. Investors are totally tired of promises. They want to see a car with no steering wheel actually navigating a busy city street without a human intervention every 5 minutes. If it's just another flashy demo with optimized conditions, the market is going to have an absolute meltdown. It's an all-or-nothing bet that has everyone holding their breath. Is he about to change the world again, or is he just selling more vaporware to keep the stock price afloat for one more quarter? While Elon is focused on robots and AI, the competition isn't sitting still. Have you seen what's happening in China? BYD is no longer just a threat. They are a literal tidal wave. They're pumping out sleek, high-tech EVs at a fraction of the cost, and they are hungry for the throne. While Tesla struggles with production delays and PR nightmares, BYD is quietly taking over global markets from Southeast Asia to Europe. It's a classic pincer movement, with domestic rivals and international giants all closing in at once. Can Tesla maintain its premium status when the competition is offering more for less? The throne is looking very shaky, and for the first time, Elon doesn't seem to have a clear answer for the BYD problem. And what about the people sitting right across from him in the boardroom? For years, the Tesla board of directors was seen as a group of loyalists, essentially a fan club, but the tide is turning. With legal battles over Elon's massive $56 billion pay package heating up, some members are starting to look at the exit sign. There are even whispers of a potential hostile takeover or a board-led coup. Imagine a world where the board actually votes to remove Elon as CEO. Could they decide that the company needs a boring leader to stabilize the ship and focus on manufacturing? It would be the ultimate betrayal, but in the world of high finance, loyalty usually ends exactly where the losses begin. Finally, we have to look at the Mars factor. Some dedicated Elonologists have a wild theory. What if he doesn't even care about the earthly fallout anymore? What if he is intentionally burning down his traditional businesses to liquidate his assets and focus entirely on SpaceX and the colonization of Mars? To a man who thinks in centuries, a temporary financial collapse on Earth might just be a tiny footnote in his grand plan to save the human species. Is he a failing businessman or a man who has already checked out of this planet mentally? It's the ultimate speculative question. Oh, and the answer might be more shocking than any stock market dip. The future looks incredibly shaky, but hold on tight, because the final verdict is about to get even more intense. So where does that leave us in this wild, high-stakes game of financial chicken? We are officially witnessing the ultimate clash between fortune and fame, and for the first time in his legendary career, Elon Musk is finding out that you might not be able to keep both. For over a decade, his celebrity was his greatest asset. It was the absolute fuel that powered the Tesla stock price to the moon and beyond, making him the Iron Man of our era. But now, that fame has become a double-edged sword that is cutting deep into his net worth. Every controversial post on X and every public spat with regulators is a massive withdrawal from the Bank of Public Trust. And let's be real, that account is starting to look dangerously low. We are standing at the most critical turning point in modern business history, guys. This isn't just about a car company anymore. It's about whether a single individual can actually disrupt every industry on the planet while simultaneously fighting a war with the very market that funded his rise. Is Elon a genius playing 4D chess, or is the empire finally crumbling under the weight of his own ambition? On one side, you've got bulls like Cathie Wood who see every dip as a chance to double down on a future of AI and robotics. They believe the master plan is working and that the robotaxi will make us all forget about the falling margins. But on the other side, the whales are jumping ship and Wall Street is issuing a brutal verdict that can't be ignored. The competition from BYD is a literal tidal wave, and the legal battles over that $56 billion pay package are threatening to strip away the very title of world's richest man. It's a drama that even the best Hollywood writers couldn't script, and we are all watching it unfold in real time. The truth is, in the world of high-stakes celebrity business, the bigger the ego, the harder the fall. We've seen it happen before, but never on a scale this massive. If Tesla can't regain its footing, and if X continues to bleed cash, we might be looking at the end of an era. But hey, this is Elon we're talking about. He's built his entire brand on doing the impossible, right? Maybe he'll pull off another miracle at the gigafactories and prove all the critics wrong. Or maybe, just maybe, the market has finally decided that the Musk premium is no longer worth the risk. Now, I want to hear from you because this is where things get really interesting for your wallet. After everything we've talked about, the layoffs, the cyber fail PR, and the shift to AI, what's your move? Drop a comment below right now. Are you selling or holding your Tesla stock? Are you still a believer in the mission, or do you think it's time to jump ship before the next big drop? Don't be shy. Let's get a real debate going in the comments, because your perspective is what keeps this channel alive. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you absolutely have to hit that subscribe button right now. We are tracking the Musk Chronicles every single day, and you don't want to miss the next update when the robotaxi numbers finally hit the desk. We're diving deep into the secrets that the mainstream media won't touch, so join the community and stay informed. This has been an incredible journey through the highs and lows of the world's most talked about fortune. But remember, in this game, today's billionaire can be tomorrow's cautionary tale. Thanks for hanging out with me, and stay tuned because you won't believe the absolute chaos we're uncovering for our next video. We're looking at a massive celebrity scandal involving a luxury fashion empire that is about to blow wide open. You do not want to miss it. See you in the next one.